What's going on, everybody? This is Thomas Van Kampen once again, here with another episode of Let's Animate. For this episode, I have another special guest with me. You may know him for his YouTube channel, Dusk Legend. He has a whole variety of videos over there. He's got rant videos, he has a couple cartoons, he has a bit of his music over there, he does Let's Plays, he's got all sorts of stuff. So please welcome Mr. Dusk Legend himself, Chris.
Hey!
All right.
With a build-up like that, I just come in like, hey.
I just thought I'd let people know what you do so that they'd be more inclined to check out your channel. So, yeah, which I imagine they will since you've got a little something to offer everybody. Seriously though, like, I checked out a couple of things on your channel, and the very first thing that struck me was how much variety you had over there. Which I think is like your strongest thing. Like you just appeal to so many different demographics. Which brings me to my first question. At what points do you feel like you're going to be confident enough to tackle the Dusk Legend makeup tutorial series?
Well, the tutorial basically involves you just roll out of bed and do look as messy as possible. So once I get a little bit more brand recognition, quote unquote, I think I'll start teaching everyone how to, look as swagger fresh as I do,
Oh, dude, like, you already make me feel so much more confident because I more or less do the exact same thing. So, yeah. Okay, real first question. Where does your name, like your YouTube alias, where does the name Dusk Legend come from? Is there a story behind that, or is it just a combination of cool words you thought of one day?
There's a story behind it, but it's not a very impressive one.
Go ahead.
So I was about, I don't know, let's say 13, and I made my first Xbox account, right? Yeah. And I've always been bad at usernames, so I wanted something good, something spicy, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I was like, so like you said, a combination of two words, right? But I wanted it to I didn't want a bunch of letters and numbers. I wanted something that sounded a little mysterious, a little dark,
Totally.
And I was also working on, like, a really a lame concept at the time of like a fictional comic series that was about a character where the main name was Dusk. So I took that, and it's kind of been my online thing for years now.
All right. Well, you know what? I think that's pretty interesting because when I first read your name, Dusk Legend, the first thing I thought of was like, that sounds like a badass 90s superhero. Yeah. But, it's honestly a much more credible explanation for your name than mine because mine's just freaking stupid. The Tombo is actually the nickname that my family gave me when I was a toddler. And I tried to create some sort of alliteration, and I couldn't think of a word other than time. So I was like, all right, screw it, we'll go with that.
No, but I like it, because there's something about the word Tombo, and it pairs perfectly with what is, as of the date of this video, your avatar for your channel, your cartoon of yourself. Yeah. It's so, like, cartoony and zingy, and when I first saw it, I don't know, I hate to say it in such plain terms as this, because it kind of takes the curtain away from everything, but it has strong branding to it. Like, it really suggests, like, hey, you're getting cartoons when you come over here, okay? You fucking ready for these cartoons, dude?
I never really thought of it that way, but yeah, cool. Thank you. I checked out a couple of your videos before I did this, and I think right now you're in the middle of doing your Pokken Let's Play series. Am I correct?
Yeah.
Yeah,
yes.
Pokken. That which it really interests me because I'm really into Pokemon, and incidentally, Tekken is my favorite fighting series. So, they just seem like a match made in heaven as far as I'm concerned. How's that game going so far? Like, what's your opinion on it?
Okay, so most people who, like, if you go to, like, IGN or something, they'll sit down, they'll say, the developers of Tekken took their crack at it, so it's like a combination of that with Pokemon, and that's not incorrect, right? Mm-hmm. Another comparison people give it is, similar to the Naruto fighting games, which I don't really have a lot of experience with. All in all, I would say there's not really a game that I can compare it to that it plays like. So in order to describe Pokken or Pokken, or I don't know, I'm not really big on pronunciations, doesn't matter,
Yeah.
but in order to describe it, I would say that the field element, the 3D, because it's a combination of 3D and 2D, is actually not as big a part of the game. So it really plays more like a Marvel vs. Capcom, a Street Fighter. And I love
Ah.
Soul Calibur, which like Tekken, 3D fighter. But as far as it being a fighting game, the 2D aspect is the most powerful, combo-centric element of it. It's fun all the way around. It's polished. It's got so many Pokemon references scattered in. Even the mechanics themselves are kind of a callback to the way that Pokemon has a fundamental rock paper scissors game going on underneath everything.
Yeah.
I mean, have you gotten the chance to try it at all or anything?
No, to be honest with you. I do have a Wii U, but it's not in my house at this point in time. I would like to try it at some point. I wish, just based on like the character select screen, maybe it's like been patched or whatever, and maybe it has a lot more content to it now. But from what I've seen based on your Let's Play, it doesn't look like there's a whole lot of character stuff. And I mentioned before we started this how I'm a fan of Pokemon, and I kind of wanted to go into that conversation with you. But I'm kind of weird in that, like, my favorite Pokemon are, like, the ones that aren't the popular opinion. And even though I know why, it totally makes sense to feature those Pokemon as playable characters in the game. But none of them are my favorites, so I don't really have any inclination to pick up Gengar or Chandelure or anything like that. So,
I gotcha.
yeah.
That's most of like the criticism people have with like the newer generations anyway. And
Mm-hmm.
and I don't think there's an inherent design philosophy in Pokemon that you can really point to and say this is why the new ones are objectively bad. Like, I mean, I'll be honest, when it comes to like stereotypical opinions, where like the sixth generation is concerned, the only thing I really have to complain about is fucking the keyring Pokemon. And it's not even like it's competitively viable too. That's the worst part about it. You set up
Yeah.
Toxic, you set up Confusion on that sucker, and you pretty much die to it like instantly.
Have you ever heard of the YouTuber Dookie Shed?
I think I feel like I have.
Okay.
I bet he's watching right now.
He made a video called "Klefki Will F You Up," and it's so freaking funny because he makes all these like key related jokes like, "This Pokemon has prankster, jingle jangle, motherfucker, nice car."
I love like novelty Pokemon teams. I just like people get so mad online. Like the disconnects
Yeah.
are real, dude.
Yeah. Well, that's honestly the weakness of any online game. That's not Pokemon specific, I don't
Oh, did a
think.
bird get in there? I heard a bird.
No, that was my messaging thing going off. Just that might happen every now and then because I'm not professional. Anyway, I'm just gonna go ahead and put that on silent.
No, you just gotta let it happen, dude. You just gotta let it happen. I see you
Yeah.
running a bird sanctuary in your animation studio, man. Come on, you're multifaceted.
Oh yeah, I'm starting a whole aviary over here. I'm like JonTron.
A bird.
Yeah.
Tron.
The man likes birds. Yeah. So since you're a big fan of Pokemon and you probably follow it a lot, I have to ask, what's your favorite Pokemon?
Oh, I'm a basic bitch when it comes to that. Like,
Yeah.
and you see where I get salty over Pokken real quick. My favorite Pokemon is Swampert, and I've been playing for years.
Oh,
So
yeah.
when they had the other two third generation starters in there and they shafted him, I was like, "Hey guys, what the fuck's going on over here? What happened?"
Dude, you must have been so frustrated about the whole "you like Mudkip" meme because it's
Yeah.
like, yeah, I do. What's wrong with that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So did you get into Pokemon around the third gen, and that's why Swampert is your favorite, or?
Oh no, I've some of my earliest video game memories in general were Red and Blue. I don't remember even what drew me to them. I think it was literally just a random purchase as a kid, like, oh, monsters, and that was it.
Yeah. Well, I ask because the majority of my favorite Pokemon are from Gen 3, just because that's where I got into the whole thing. And that's when I started watching the show and stuff like that. I didn't get into the games for a long time, but the first game I played all the way through, coincidentally, was a third gen game. I think it was Pokemon Ruby. Um, and because of that, like, my favorite fire type is Torkoal, stuff like that.
Oh,
Uh,
love Torkoal.
Torkoal's great. And if I had to pick, this is purely for sentimental reasons, right? Like, I can't for the life of me make this Pokemon good competitively good. But my favorite Pokemon by far is Tropius. Tropius, the flying dinosaur with bananas on its neck. Like,
No, he works. I know maybe in like tier battles or whatever, right? But I know he can work as like a bulky solar beam spammer because he gets
well,
whatchamahoo's chlorophyll.
yeah, not only that, but he gets Harvest, which lets you respawn your berry every turn. Well, not every turn. It's a 50-50 chance, unless you're in sunlight, but still. Um, but yeah, but its biggest problem is that it's grass flying, and so it has, like, every weakness ever. So,
You know what? Speaking of Ruby and Sapphire, I don't want to. I know you got a specific stream of questions. I don't want to throw you off too much,
oh,
but if I
dude,
can
don't worry
share,
about it. I'm cool with whatever.
I've got a pretty one of those embarrassing stories that you want to share about Ruby and Sapphire, right?
Mm-hmm.
When I first got, I think it was Ruby. I was still like pretty young, and I always nicknamed my Pokemon. But for some reason, when I got Ruby, I was just so dead set. My character, all caps, was Killer. Killer, like some fucking like horrible name for like a Doberman or some shit. And then every Pokemon I caught was Killer in all caps for the whole game. Like looking back on it now, I would have thought like, wow, I really stuck to the fucking joke, goddamn. But I was like dead serious too.
I can't say I'm much better because when I first played through Ruby, I also started out with a Mudkip, incidentally, but I couldn't come up with clever names for my Pokemon, so instead I just started naming them all after action movie stars. So, so my Mudkip was named Bruce, like Bruce Lee. I had a Manectric named Van Damme. Stuff like that. So
I'm not too great with the actors. I know their faces and stuff. I don't know. I can't be bothered unless I know the movie. There's a lot of stuff I haven't seen, to be honest with you.
Oh, totally. You know what? I'm terrible with names. I claim to be a huge movie buff, but whenever I'm talking about a character in a movie, I can't for the life of me remember their name.
Yeah, really. Like, I'd probably call them by the character before I ended up thinking of who the fuck they were.
I end up referring to them as their actor name before their actual character name, which I think most people do anyway. Like, I'll give you an example. Last movie I saw was The Hateful Eight, and I can't remember anybody's name in there, so...
Yeah, I saw your most recent Go Animate. Wow, I just called
Go
your
Animate.
series Go Animate. That's gotta be like the biggest insult in like the cartoon. Fuck. All right, no, but your most
Alright.
recent episode involved a review of that. Now available on TomboTime. Go check it out. Like, comment, subscribe. That's the plug.
Oh, yeah,
This is where they go check it out. And now that they're back from watching it, we can continue.
Mm-hmm. You just compared me to Go Animate, so you're fired. Just
Oh
kidding.
shit! I just pulled. I fucked up, guys. I fucked up.
I'm just kidding. Yeah, so I watched that. I really liked it. I'm a big fan of Quentin Tarantino. I think he does it again. But, it's... I can't remember anybody's name in there. I only remember Sam Jackson and Tim Roth. I occasionally call him Mr. Orange.
I mean, Sam Jackson. Anything I see him in is like, oh yeah, he's the yelly one. He's the one who yells.
Except for Mace Windu.
Ah, man, you see, I'm. This is like sacrilege, but like,
Yeah.
I've only ever seen the first. When I say first Star Wars, I don't even mean 4. I mean literally number 1 on a DVD that had technical glitches the whole way through.
Oh. Well, I mean, to be fair, you're talking about the Phantom Menace, right?
I don't even know offhand. I want to say yes, but
Is it the one with Jar Jar in it? And pod racing?
it's the one where where they meet him in the sand village and he's a little kid.
Okay. In your defense, that whole movie is a technical glitch. So
I know everybody hates the prequels. I didn't know about that when I first saw it, though. Like, I was a
uh,
little kid.
sorry, you were saying? Go ahead.
No, I mean, I got, like a DVD set at, like, a garage sale, I think. Somebody
Yeah.
was like, get these the fuck out of my house. So I picked them up on the cheap, and, they didn't work. What a fucking surprise, right? Here, take my
Uh,
junk. $5. Come on, you want it? Box set.
yeah. Well, it's honestly like the prequels. Their biggest problems are like the comedic relief is too prominent, the acting is too stiff and sterile. Nobody like really shows any real emotion. Anakin's whiny as hell. You can't believe he's going to be Darth Vader later. And episode 3 is tolerable in my opinion, and it's honestly the only one in the prequels that matters in terms of relating to the original trilogy, because it's the only thing that actually, it's the only movie that actually advances anything. So,
That's the one where, like, with the dramatic lava fight at the end, right?
Yeah.
I want to say. Okay, spoilers, guys, by the way.
it's from 2006. Who cares?
No, I know how you feel about, like, the comedic balance, because Star Wars is a series that it's not impossible to have comedy in, but it takes itself just the right amount of seriously, because it deals with a very kind of abstract yet relatable themes of how would I guess you would say organized social life, or I would say humanity, but it's obviously not strictly about humans. But you know what I'm getting at?
Mm-hmm. And it's interesting you bring up the comedy aspect of Star Wars, because have you seen The Force Awakens?
The new one?
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen reviews of it, but I'm
Okay.
probably gonna go through all 7 in a row one day.
All right. Well, I just wanted to make sure so I don't spoil anything for you by accident. But what I will say is that, in my opinion, that movie actually... Here's my own bit of sacrilege for you. That movie actually did a lot of things better than the original trilogy did. One of those things being the comedy. Just because the protagonists are much funnier and more relatable than the ones in the original trilogy were. So, yeah.
Uh-oh. Do you hear that? That's the sound of the angry people getting their pitchforks out, dude.
Yeah, dude. I don't know how they came all the way from Long Island to Calgary, but holy crap.
Dude, they're on their way, man. Dude, those Star Wars people, they move fast, dude. They hop in their warp pods. I don't even know what is that what it's called? Warp pods. Yeah, no, what are the things, the racers, right?
Yeah. The pod racing. God, I wish those things were real.
Yo, you got all right. I don't want to control what you do with this episode, but I'm suggesting that the title be the absolute worst thing a Star Wars fan could ever listen to right now, because he's gonna be like, all right, here's one guy who kind of knows
I'll put a warning right in front of the episode. Yeah.
If you like Star Wars, fucking run.
One guy is saying he's only seen one movie of the original series, and not the original series, the prequels, and the other guy is saying that the new movie is better than the original.
Dude, we're gonna give people like fucking like hypertension with this video, dude. Like we're legitimately gonna cause some deaths, dude. Their blood pressure, yo, you can't click on this shit if your BMI, your fucking whatever it's called, is like below a certain threshold, because you can't handle this. Okay, you can't handle what we're saying here.
Yeah, well, you know what? Just based on the content that I've seen on your channel, can I go ahead and assume that you're no stranger to that? Because one of the things that you do is rant videos, and you've tackled things like the whole controversy between Leafy and H3H3 and stuff like that, and you've also talked about some other stuff very articulately, I might add. Do you get a lot of flack in the comment section where people are just like, "Oh, you're just a stupid asshole," blah blah blah?
Well, first of all, I want to say thank you.
Yeah.
Aw, shucks, thanks. Secondly, not as much as you'd think, but to be honest with you, that's probably mostly just because I don't get the kind of views that would bring in the bulk or majority of people who would then be dissenting to what I'm saying. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm kind of lucky in the sense that, like, I mean, I never expect anything to be the best, like, of my channel. I didn't set out saying I want to be the 1 million sub. You know, like, if I get a couple hundred, that's cool. So in that sense, I have the perfect thing right now. Years from now, I'm gonna look back at the situation I'm in, and I might miss it, because as positive a thing as it is to get more exposure, especially as an artist, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure you're aware that, you know, the more people you bring in, the wider your proverbial butterfly net is, I suppose you could look at it as, the more bees you're gonna catch in there with it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Dude, you just used like 5 bug analogies in one sentence.
I mean, what can I say? I'm bugging out. Ah!
Yeah, bro.
Obviously, like, 5-star comedy right here.
You're like Bug Catcher Joey. I can't remember what the
I love that guy who's like, shorts are easy and comfortable to wear, or switch
totally.
That around.
I'm sure that's... I don't even know if there's an actual trainer called Bug Catcher Joey. I'm not that much of a Pokemon nerd.
I know every NPC. Every NPC!
I remember every NPC, but I can't remember my father's name.
Yeah, what's my social security?
Yeah. To be fair, I think a lot of people learn like the huge list of Pokemon before they even learn what a social security number is.
Well, I mean, I don't want to throw this in a crazy direction, because I guess you were kind of touching about that with the rant stuff. But if I can make this as short as I possibly can, I'm very long-winded. I don't want to take up your time on any one topic.
Dude, you know what? I'm totally comfortable with us going off the rails. It does not matter to me. I just had a set of questions prepared in case, like, we were having a hard time going anywhere, but you're such a natural conversationalist that this isn't an issue at all, so...
Alright, well, let's see what you think after this, then. Because I might just ruin that.
I think this is going really well. This is probably the most entertaining one we've done so far. Sorry, Titus.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to go to find this guy and just comment on his videos, be like, listen, nothing personal, bruh.
Oh, yeah. If you might actually like his videos. My last guest star, in case you weren't aware, he has a channel called Broke Ass Guide to Life, which... We were talking about branding before. I think you'll agree, he has the best branding of the three of us.
Yeah, dude.
Broke ass guide to life. It just rolls off the It just rolls off the tongue like Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. And he's got some really witty stuff over there. So yeah, definitely check him out.
YouTube.com/Citus.
Yeah.
There you go.
You know what?
Guy.
To be fair, I just use this series a lot to promote people I like all the time anyway. Speaking of which, I know that we have very similar tastes. I found out the other day that we both like Hot Diggity Demon. While we were setting things up, you mentioned Grade A Under A. I like him too. Who are just some YouTubers that you find yourself coming back to a lot?
Oh, that is a loaded question, because there's so many. I like to. I'm not. I really save my subscribing for smaller people, because I feel, as I frequently mention, that is the heart of this website, whether their corporate ownership would reflect that or not, right? So a lot of the big guys that I go back to, I guess is what you're getting at. Most of the big guys is I don't know if it counts as a YouTube channel, because I know, like, Nostalgia Critic and some of their people post on here. I'm
a fan of them, too.
What's funny, I meant to tell you, I was talking about how I found your comment randomly on a video. I want to say it was the Goof Troop original Game Grumps playthrough. I found a comment. I didn't even bother to reply, because I was like, fuck, 2 in one day? I don't know. But I saw a comment you made on one of those, too, believe it or not.
Yeah?
I was just going through, like, fucking old videos, and there's...
God damn, TomboTime's everywhere.
Yeah, really, dude. I think, you know how you go through, like, the YouTube fucking funnel where you sit down and watch related videos until suddenly you're watching, like, the breeding habits of flatworms under the sea? Like, I feel like I'm gonna see you on some of that shit. But anyway, yeah, no, so let me think. I love Continue. I don't know if you You know their whole deal?
I've watched a bit of them, and nothing against them, but I don't. They're just not for me, really. With the exception of their Shakafu video, but other than that, yeah.
That's cool, man. I'm trying to think. I I'm into the Rooster Teeth podcast, but I don't really know anything else that they make. So I guess they kind of count as a channel I look at sometimes.
Yeah, I occasionally put the Rooster Teeth podcast on in the background while I'm working on animations and stuff like that.
You know what it is
yeah.
about them? I love to hate them. I don't know if that's like the best thing to say, but like, I don't know, man. There's just something. Like, I love the podcast, and it's definitely funny, but as far as when they get into like personal stuff, it's just like, oh my god, what are you even saying, dude?
I guess I kind of understand that because, obviously when you're doing a podcast, like an hour-long podcast that frequently, you're not going to like every single aspect of a certain person. You're going to run into something. Like, when you know somebody that well and that prominently, it's only a matter of time before they disappoint you, I think. So...
Yeah, I guess that's a good way of looking at it. But I mean, in more of just like I don't make a claim to know any of them or any podcast, right? Personally speaking, right? Because I mean, you can't. There's only so much truth you can bring to the scene, depending on what kind of business or what kind of artist you are, right? But it's just a general philosophy kind of thing about a lot of their views on like technology and websites and stuff. I can't think of any specifics right now, but since we're talking about it, it's just I don't know, man. Some of the stuff they say, it's like what?
You know what? I totally agree with you. I wouldn't necessarily say that for the Rooster Teeth podcast, but another podcast that I tune into every once in a while is Sleepy Cabin. And that's a podcast for all the Newground animators like Oni and Psychic Pebbles, Spaz Kid, and stuff like that. And every once in a while, Zach, he's Psychic Pebbles, he'll say... I probably shouldn't have named anybody in particular, but whatever, too late.
He's coming for you.
Yeah. He's gonna come at me with his screamy voice.
Savage! Shit. No, what up?
Anyway, please don't kill me, Zach. But yeah, every once in a while he'll say something that I don't necessarily agree with, and I'll be like, well, it kind of comes across as like kind of douchey, but then he'll clarify in the comment section or something like that, and I'll be like, oh yeah, I see where you're coming from now. Yeah, what you were trying to say before just didn't come out right, so. And you know what? While we're on the subject of like sharing your opinions in a constructive manner, I just wanted to say that like I watched your I brought up the Leafies here in H3H3 conversation before. And really the only thing that I saw out of that is your video on the matter. And I thought you were impressively consistent with your thought process. And you kind of broke down how exactly you went through every single thing. And I think that's really challenging to do because, during most of my Let's Animate series, I'm always going, and every time I listen back on them, I'm just like, friggin' TomboTime Animates starring Jeff Goldblum. So, But I think it's really impressive how you don't really get winded, or maybe you do, you just do it off camera, but, like, I'm impressed by how, I'm impressed by how you just articulate your thoughts, so...
Well, thank you, but I think it's actually, you'd be surprised to hear that for me, the process comes from, I mean, I try to be, well, when it comes to the H3 Leafy drama video in particular, first of all, I just want to say for anyone listening to this, and for future reference, because you always got to cover your ass, always anticipate that people are going to scan every nook and cranny to hear everything you say for contradictions, right? Yeah. So here's the thing, I didn't cover that because of the drama aspect. I mean... Those are two channels that I know, one more so than the other, but none to the point of having a real reason to jump to their defense, right? So it's always about the principle of things, and I've probably said that sentence enough times where I fucking feel like a broken record, right?
Yeah.
But the thing that helps me stay fluent in organizing things, and maybe it'll help you too, I don't know, it's just a suggestion since you seem like you're a little self-critical in that regard, right?
Yeah.
Is to allow your emotions to help you fuel an objective argument, right? And I know that seems a little contradictory because, a lot of people will tout, like, well, emotions have no place in a serious debate, a philosophical, political debate. It's, but the fact of the matter is that everyone has a bias towards a viewpoint, even if the viewpoint is objectivism. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
Totally.
so when I sit down to construct a video like that, at least those videos, because as much as they're like an analysis of a topic or an idea, it's very like off the head, reactional. That's not a word, is it? Reactionary, rather.
Yeah.
Reactionary and emotive. And so it helps me stay congruent in the argument I'm trying to make by keeping myself in that emotion. Like that, the reason I made 3 videos across 3 of my different quote-unquote series, just to, stroke my fucking ego a little there, is because there's new information came in, and I wanted to stay consistent with the new information in showing why I wasn't going to sway on that, or if I did, why I did. So I think in the future, when you want to check yourself for consistency, think about how a topic makes you feel, and if it's a thing that can have emotional strength applied to it, see if you can keep that vibe, if that makes any sense.
You know what? That makes total sense. And you know what? You bring up an interesting point about how nobody's just completely rid of bias. Like everybody's coming from some sort of I don't know, just basic understanding of something, and in contrast, they have a lack of understanding in another place. Even if their point of view is objectivism, chances are, in some regard, they're like not seeing the other side of something. And I think that's one of the advantages that your perspective has, is that because you don't polarize to any particular side of H3H3 or Leafy is here. Because you don't polarize to any side, you don't have that bias of, like, I'm a fanboy defending my favorite YouTuber of the two. You feel no shame in analyzing both objectively and pointing both out for their BS, I guess. So.
Yeah, I mean, if it was strictly a matter of just who I liked and everything, on paper I should be defending H3H3 to the tooth and nail, because he was the one I knew way more about and watched more of, and what I like to do is I like to remove the identity from it, at least in that particular issue, and I don't want to linger on that too long, but I think once you take the names out of it, I put it in the description of one of the videos I made on it. I don't remember which one, but I basically paraphrased the whole situation as, today we look at the comments one man made about another man who prompted men who watch another man to go and attack the first man. You know what I mean? When you take the names out of it, you start to see how absurd it all really is. And unfortunately, if we want to, and this is getting preachy real fast, but if we want to understand how to better humanity as a thinking and interacting species, we have to accept that even in our capacity for intelligence, where it's counted for, right, and for emotional cooperative reasoning, that bias is inherent in everything, and that's not a bad thing. It just means, perspective. That's all it is. Everyone you meet is just another set of eyes walking around seeing different things than you do, and as basic as that sounds, it is the undermining principle of, what is the word I'm looking for here? Of, like I said, of betterment, because once you coalesce all that stuff into one big mushy Play-Doh lump of everything, you know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
And that's not an easy process, that's idealistic, but one of the... 2 minute rant, I'll make this quick, I promise, guys.
Don't worry about it, go as long as you need.
One of the things that you mentioned before, just about 10 minutes ago or so, was the fact that people know all the names of all the Pokemon before they even know their own social security, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not sure how much this really goes with the argument I just made, but it's always something I go back to. Just one of the things I've noticed, being a particularly young person, that seems to be the problem, at least, I don't know if I can say all Western cultures, at least in America, we'll just say for simplicity's sake, is that we are repeatedly told from a young age about all the things that we are going to be responsible for later in life, yet also told not to worry about it because we don't need to worry about it, and at the same time are given very minimal preparation for the quote-unquote real world, such that in many schools it is more likely to be mandatory to take an SAT preparation class, which prepares you to take one test that, for all intents and purposes, really only matters for that one chunk of getting into a school, as opposed to, say, a personal finance class, which pertains to managing your own personal assets.
Oh, yeah, totally.
In the long run. And if anything, that argument captures, I think, the very baseline reason why a lot of people are lacking in just a general real-world balance of skills that would contribute to the thing I was just talking about, in coming together to communicate.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry, I just got really... I just went off there.
Oh, dude, don't worry about it. I think you addressed a really interesting point there, and it's good to go. I will confess, though, I recorded footage of me animating before this. We did go overtime, but honestly, I don't care. I'll figure out a way. I'll put in extra footage of whatever the hell I want if I need to, because honestly, that part doesn't matter. But I will end this off with one last question. This is the same question I gave Titus. Do you have a thing in your videos that's like your favorite thing? So like your favorite joke or the favorite video that you've done? So something you're most proud of.
Something I'm most proud of.
Yeah.
I like to think that everything I keep making... Yeah, I started with a tripod and a TV, and there's a lot of YouTube video game people who do it that way. So I like to think every video I make is just constantly improving in some way or another. I mean, a lot of that is subjective, the humor, you don't have to agree with that, Yeah. But as far as right now, my favorite thing is probably my music video that I did for my song, Why I Smoke Weed, because it's just so fucking helplessly absurd.
Yeah.
And I really captured the vibe that I conceived when I thought of it. So I guess that's it.
All right. Cool stuff. Cool stuff. Well, thanks for joining me again, Chris. Don't forget to check out Chris's YouTube channel, Dusk Legend. Like I said in the beginning of this video, he has plenty of interesting stuff over there. Any closing thoughts, Chris?
Well, other than thank you for having me, I think that you've got, just to throw all that good vibes back at you, I mean, you've got a great starting channel right here. You've got a series that not only has promise and real, what's the word I'm looking for here? Real self-aware, but at the same time, satirical, you know what I mean? It's inclusive of the genre, you got the whole superhero crime drama thing going on with the cartoony aspect, and it blends perfectly. And honestly, just looking at the sheer diversity in all your episodes, where each, or at least every couple of episodes, you sit down to try a different project, you really test yourself. I just have to say that, I mean, hell, I hope we get to combine our strengths one day. That's all I'm getting at, man.
Yeah, dude, I would love to do that. I think we sort of did that today, so yeah. Like I said before, I'm going to repeat myself because I'm professional. Please check out Dusk Legend's channel. He's got plenty of good stuff over there. And thank you guys once again for joining me on this episode of Let's Animate. I'll try to upload more in the future, and I'll see you in the next video. Okay, see you later.
We're clear? I feel like the guy in the Elmo mask taking his helmet off fuck these fucking kids.